for joining. My name is Michael Bendit. You should see on the screen the big LinkedIn for B2B e-commerce webinar. It's sponsored by Buyer Recommended Publications, which is my company. My name is Michael Bendit. And today our feature presentation is by Joe Apfelbaum, CEO of Ajax Union. Let's go to the next slide. So briefly, a couple pages on Buyer Recommended. Many of you have received our e-commerce weekly brief, and so know a little bit about it. We're an online directory of the most highly recommended e-commerce vendors in North America. We currently have 355 e-commerce design agencies by industry focus, as you can see here. That's 15 different industries, and we have 548 e-commerce development agencies by platform. There's 22 platforms that we cover today. We may be adding others in the future. So why do buyers of e-commerce services use Buyer Recommended? A couple of reasons. First, it's a free resource of the most highly recommended e-commerce service specialists. Second, it's a forum to share your experiences with e-commerce vendors, both good and bad. We hope more good. And over time, we'll be expanding those service categories to include marketing, which is coming next, finance and payments, operations, logistics, business services. We're going to have a separate category for Amazon services, etc. What can you do to help improve Buyer Recommended? A few things. First of all, we'd love for you to submit recommendations of your favorite e-commerce vendors, and we'll make sure they are listed. Secondly, if you could click the next one, submit reviews of your favorite e-commerce vendors. If they're already listed, we'll make sure that they have their review functionality enabled. And then finally, provide feedback on how we can make Buyer Recommended more valuable to you, whether it's features, e-commerce weekly brief, webinars, etc. And finally, share the Buyer Recommended URL and other resources with colleagues. I have our email, our support email, support@buyerrecommended.com at the bottom. And we're going to share this. It will be posted as a recorded webinar. So today, with no further delay, we'll talk a little bit about Joe Apfelbaum and our LinkedIn, our presentation on LinkedIn for B2B e-commerce. Joe is the CEO of Ajax Union, which is a B2B marketing agency in Brooklyn with a specialty in LinkedIn marketing. He is also, there's a lot of alsos here. He's a business strategist, a marketing expert, certified Google trainer. He's the host of a popular podcast called The Breakthrough Maze, the author of 3 books, including High Energy Secrets. If you haven't noticed already, Joe is the king of high energy, and probably partially how he lost his 95 pounds. And then finally, he's the producer of Grow Time TV. He's published over 500 motivational street talk videos on YouTube, and I'm sure you could find him there. So with no further delay, Joe, take it away.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate you having me here with your audience. I'm really excited about all of you that are here. So I'm just curious to know, in the chat box, if you guys have a LinkedIn account, go ahead and put your LinkedIn URL, say hello, let me know that you're here, because the best way to learn is to engage and interact. So you'll find the chat button on the right side of the screen, you should see, or on the bottom or on the top somewhere, you'll see a button that says chat. And you can easily chat with me, and Michael will also be seeing the chat. So go ahead and say hello in the chat. Make sure that when you are saying hello, you write to all panelists and all attendees. There's a little to button of who you can send it to. And this way we can have a conversation all together. And I love the engagement. I love when you guys are engaged, but more importantly, it's the best way to learn. There's no better way to learn than to engage. So Mohammed, make sure that when you're engaging, and everybody else, that you put all panelists and all attendees so everyone can see the chat. Right now, it's only going to all panelists. A lot of you are chatting with me. It's only going to all panelists. All right, so let's rock and roll. Today, we're going to talk about the LinkedIn Authority Blueprint and how to create a strategy for LinkedIn, specifically for B2B e-commerce businesses. So I'm curious to know, does anybody here know me? Has anyone seen me before on LinkedIn? I have about 27,000 followers on LinkedIn right now, and I recently updated my LinkedIn URL, my LinkedIn profile, and I added the word LinkedIn in bold, and people often want to know how to do that. Recently updated our page, and I recently added this consulting services. So if you are a vendor and you're doing consulting services for other companies, you can actually add this section to your profile. You should definitely go look into that. I also have a LinkedIn Premium account. That's where you'll see the little gold icon. And so on and so forth. Okay, so who is this webinar for? This webinar is for people that are in B2B, business owners, executives, anyone looking for leads, referrals, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and marketing directors, anyone that really wants to learn how to grow from a marketing perspective. And I really want you all to engage with me because that is the best way to learn. So Ajax Union is a B2B digital marketing agency. We're based in Brooklyn, and we're really focused on LinkedIn. We have these amazing meetups. You guys are all welcome to come to our meetups. If you ever want to meet me in person in Brooklyn, we're having one tonight, actually. We've had over 800 people come to our meetups, and we do these events because LinkedIn is a platform where you build relationships with people, and the best way to build a relationship with someone is actually meet them face-to-face and then follow up on the platform. So if you look through your connections, you'll realize that most of your connections, for most people that I know at least, they don't know who their connections are personally. And the real way to build a relationship is to really get to know people. So going to a LinkedIn local nearby is very useful. We've done them in LA, in San Diego, in Miami, and we do them mostly around the New York City area because that's where we're based out of. If you want to check it out, go to ajaxunion.com/meetup. So what is LinkedIn? LinkedIn is the largest networking event in the world. People think it's a technology platform, but the reality is it's actually a platform that is a networking event. And this networking event happens every single day because people are logging in every day. About 46% of social traffic to corporate websites come from LinkedIn, and 71% of marketers that are B2B say LinkedIn is part of their advertising strategy. So when it comes to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a very powerful place to be able to get traffic. As a matter of fact, Microsoft paid $26.2 billion. Yeah, I said billion dollars for LinkedIn. And their stock was actually tanking, and they paid 25% more than what their stock was worth at the time to purchase LinkedIn because Microsoft had a vision. And if you were watching Microsoft stock now, Microsoft, is really taking off. But they had a vision for LinkedIn and what they want to do with LinkedIn to turn it into the #1 content marketing platform in the world. LinkedIn used to be a place where you just had your resume there. And over the past 3 years, they really transformed it by adding articles, by adding video, by adding lots of content marketing. And now it's the #1 way to get organic reach when it comes to marketing. It used to be SEO, then it was Facebook, then it was Instagram. Now it's LinkedIn. If you post something on LinkedIn, you're going to get a tremendous amount of traction. So when they came up with the slide here, this is a slide from LinkedIn. They said there were 500 members, but it's growing by 2 members per second. Right now, as of 2019, they're up to 660 million members. And basically, it's the Fortune 500 company's most used social media platform, believe it or not. Why? Because people when they're at work, they're not going to use Facebook. They're not going to use Instagram. They're going to use LinkedIn. That's what they use to recruit. That's what they use to get business. That's what they use to get content marketing. 61 million senior level influencers, 40 million decision makers, and these people are active. 57% are logging in from their phone. And the crazy thing is that there's so many people on LinkedIn that are super, super active and super engaged. So let me ask you a question in the chat right now. John, Mohammed, Brian, Bob, Blaine, April, all the people that are on here, what's one new client worth to your B2B business? In your e-commerce business, I'm curious to know, what's the lifetime value of a customer? What is a client worth to you if you were to say you got one more client? Because I want you to think about the investment that you would have to make from your time, your effort, your energy in order for you to network properly and correlate that with a financial number of what it would be worth to you if you close even just one deal from doing LinkedIn the correct way. Most people that are on LinkedIn are lurkers. They're not doing it the right way. But I want you to consider what it would be worth to you. And this way you can think about, reverse engineer out a number of what you would be willing to spend with your time, energy, resources, money, whatever it is, to invest in LinkedIn. So go ahead in the chat right now, or if you have a piece of paper, write down a number of what one new client is worth to you in your e-commerce B2B business, and I'll call out some numbers in just a moment. Now, if you could use LinkedIn to build relationships and close more business, do you think that would be worth your while? Do you think it would be worth your while? So Mohammed said $50K to $250,000. So it seems like it would be worth Mohammed's while to do this. If you have a product or service that's, let's say, $100, $200, $500, probably it's not worth using LinkedIn to get those types of customers. You might be better off using Google AdWords or using Facebook or ads, things like that. But if you have a high value product or service that's tens of thousands of dollars lifetime value, or even thousands of dollars lifetime value of a customer, then networking is the best way to do that. And for me, I close my biggest customers through LinkedIn. 6 and 7 figures in deals. I have a $2 million pipeline for 2020. And the only way that I did that is through my relationships. And years ago, I didn't understand networking. I understand how it worked. And then I realized that networking is the best way to get the highest type of customers, the best customers. And actually, me and Michael, we know each other through a networking relationship because we network with each other at Google twice a month. So LinkedIn organic reach right now is through the roof, believe it or not. It's the easiest way to get free views. It's the easiest way to get a significant amount of traffic, but not just any traffic, the right type of traffic, the eyeballs that are the decision makers, that are the millionaires, that are the influencers, that are the buyers, that are the users. And those are the people that you want to go after in the B2B space. There's different buyer centers, and those are the people that you can get in front of really, really easy, because 40% of people are logging into LinkedIn on a daily basis. And it's just insane how much traffic I'm getting to my post. I just post something organically and boom, it goes through the roof every single time. My average post gets about 1,000 views. So I'll post something and 1,000 people will see it. Could you imagine that? Isn't that crazy? I post something on LinkedIn. I post something on Facebook, 12 people see it. I post something on LinkedIn, 1,000 people see it. Like, what is this? What's going on? Over the past year, this is an AI tool that I use that measures all my views, my likes, my comments, my engagement rate, and all that stuff. And the crazy thing is that I've had over 5 million views. And if you take a look at what the value of this exposure is, if anyone knows understand advertising, you'll see at 10 cents per impression, which is a lot because these are just not regular types of impressions. They're not random people. These are my connections. These are my connections. These are influential CEOs. I have over 11,000 connections just in New York City alone. And over half of them are senior levels executives at companies that are B2B. So these are this is my target market, right? So I'm in front of these people consistently, I would say 5 times a day on average. And so if I had to do this using advertising, whether it was LinkedIn ads or Facebook ads, it would probably cost me $500,000 to get this type of exposure. And right now, this only costs me my time, my effort, my energy, my resources. And sure, that has value to it, but I certainly did not invest $500,000 in cash into this. And I'm getting this type of stuff, right? 100,000 likes, 62,000 comments. And this is not just one post. Like if you posted one YouTube video, got 5 million views and 100,000 likes, you'd get no value out of that. Zero, zilch, nada. Definitely would not be worth $500,000. But if you did this extended over a long period of time to a very specific target demographic over and over and over, building credibility, building engagement with 2,400 posts across 2,400 posts, an average of 1,000 views per post. I mean, that's the key. So my question to you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how engaged are you on LinkedIn right now? I want you to rate yourself on a level of 1 to 10. 1 meaning you have 0 engagement, you're never on the platform. 10 is you're super, super engaged. Because if you want to get to the next level, I would say that you really have to give yourself a rating to know where you are now in order for you to get to the next level. So Sean said he's a 4. John said he's a 3. So I'm curious to know, for the rest of you that are on right now in the chat box, let's engage together so this way we can build a relationship and we can actually learn something from each other. So Brian's a 3. Okay, cool. Anybody else want to? Bob, John, Jordan, Louie, we have quite a few people here. April, feel free to jump into the chat and connect with us and let's have a conversation all together. Now, do you know the 3 most important things that you need to do on LinkedIn each day? Most people don't really know what those things are, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those things and what you can be doing in order for you to get more visibility, more credibility, and ultimately be able to get people on the phone, close more deals, and build top of mind. Now, there is 1 million posts per day being posted out of 660 million people. You know what that means? That means that if you have 930 connections, the average CEO has 930 connections on LinkedIn. And by the way, if you guys haven't posted your LinkedIn URL, go ahead and post it in the chat right now. Post your LinkedIn URL in the chat. I'll post Michael Bendit's right now and I'll bring it in because I want to show you guys a couple things. So the average CEO has 930 connections. You see Michael Bendit, he has 2,600 followers over here, right? This is Michael Bendit's profile. The average CEO has 930 connections on LinkedIn. That means that only about 5 or 10 of them are actually posting anything. So if he goes to his feed, if Michael will go to his feed, you'll see that he's not going to have lots of people that are actually posting. There's going to be some ads, like, from pages and stuff like that. But if you take a look at your feed, you're not going to see a whole lot of people that are posting, but a lot of people are are putting attention compared to how many people there are on the platform that are engaged. Very few people are actually posting. There's only 1 million posts going up each day. So this is Louis. He's on here right now. E-commerce digital at Macomb Group. Cool. Thank you. And whoever else puts their thing in, I'll drop you guys here to give you guys some exposure and so on. So why are people not posting daily on LinkedIn? I'm curious to know. Why are you not posting daily? Let me know in the chat right now. Why are you not posting daily on LinkedIn? So I've literally interviewed over 1,000 people over the past 3 years, just asking them, hey, why are you not posting on LinkedIn? And I've got a variety of different answers. You could imagine every person has another excuse. But the reality is you either have reasons or results. Feel free to even write that down. You either have reasons or results in life. If you want reasons not to post, I'll give you lots and lots of reasons not to post. I'll give you lots more reasons that you could ever imagine not to post. But the reality is if you want results, you really have to consider that you either have reasons or results. Let me show you the top 10 reasons why people don't post, okay? And John, you said, not sure I have enough compelling info to post, not sure for daily content and so on. Most people say they don't have time. And the second most out of 1,000 people, the second most is I don't know what to post. I got writer's block. Or people will judge me, I'm too in their face. Or my content is not valuable enough to share. Or my connections are not interested in seeing my post. Or everything I share, people already know. Everything I'd like to share, people already know. And I'm afraid of posting. I don't want to get judged. Hashtag haters. And posting is super hard. And only talented influencers should post, right? Or I'm not the type of person to post. I like watching. I'm a lurker. Anybody here a lurker? I know a lot of people that are lurkers, and most people on social media in general, they're not comfortable posting because they're afraid. And listen, fear stops everything. That's the reality. Fear will stop everything. Or people say, I have posted before and never got really engagement. Why should I even post? So these are all the excuses that people have. Which number resonates with you the most? I'm curious to know. Which number resonates with you the most? I'm curious to know. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Which one resonates with you the most? Which one of these here resonates? I think most of you are probably going to say around 2 and so on. Blaine just posted his LinkedIn URL. Mohammed said 9. I'm not the type of person to post. I like watching. Awesome. Look, at the end of the day, there's an actual ladder of success that I take people through. There are the people on the bottom. They're fearful, lost, and tired. They're technophobes. Maybe they lost their password. They're not sure how to log in, or they're afraid they're going to break technology. They're usually not doing so well. They need some coaching. They need to learn the basics with courses and get a coach. Then there's most people on LinkedIn. They're lurking, right? They're unsure, frustrated. Maybe they're hopeful. They're surviving. They're barely marketing their business. The reason why they're lurking is because they don't have a strategy. They need to get a marketing strategy on their target client, their message, and they need to actually have a plan. And then there's the dabbler, the person who's kind of doing it every once in a while, but they're often procrastinating. They're missing something. They're getting by, but they're missing an asset library. They don't have a library of content. They don't have a system to automate their marketing. They don't have a content calendar, things like that. Then there's the influencer. They're in control. They're confident. They're ready. They're thriving. What they need to do is figure out how to monetize those likes into dollars. And that's really the key. So wherever you are on the ladder of success, the goal is to get to the top. And how do you get to the top? I'm going to show you today the 3-step process for you to be able to get to the top. Now, if relationships are important to your business, then LinkedIn needs to be important too, and you got to make it a priority. But most people are performing random acts of networking on LinkedIn and hoping that somebody will notice. Now, the word strategy might sound like a complicated word, but the reality is it's just a plan of action or policy designed to achieve a major aim. And energy without strategy is a waste of time. So to create a proper LinkedIn strategy, we've created something called the LinkedIn Authority Blueprint, where we actually do this for you. We show you, number 1 is what are your goals? What is your target market? What is your messaging? And that's your strategy, keeping it really simple, even writing it down on the back of a napkin. And then after that, creating assets so that you take the fear out of stuff and you don't make comments like, I'm not sure what to post, because everything's already there based on your strategy. You have posts, articles, and media, 3 types of assets you can use on LinkedIn. And then finally, promotion. What is your plan? Do you have a content calendar? Do you understand how to post correctly with the right hashtags in an optimized way so people actually view your content? And of course, having the right dashboards to report on you to make sure that you're doing it correctly. So I have a question for you. Do you have any idea how many connections you have? That is an important question to know, because I speak to way too many people that have no idea how many connections they have on LinkedIn. So for example, Brett has 12 connections. Sean has 1,100 connections or followers. Marinella has 2188. Jordan has, let's see, Jordan from Albany, New York. Let's see, it's loading still. I don't know why your profile is not loading correctly here. LinkedIn sometimes has a glitch, so I'll just refresh this page and see what happens. We'll come back to you. Louis has 351 connections on LinkedIn. And remember, there are 650 million members on LinkedIn. The maximum amount of connections that you could have is 30,000. And if you're not connected to your target market, if you're not networking with your target market, with the people that are important to you, the question is why? He has 266 connections here on LinkedIn. And the question is why? Why are you not networking? Why are you not building, even before you get to content marketing and getting the exposure, why are you not building relationships with the people that are likely to buy with you? If you have a B2B company, if you're in e-commerce, you probably have everyone's email address. So it's really easy for you to connect with people that had bought from you or that are prospects and so on. And then once you're connected to people, then I want you to ask you, if you have, let's say, over 1,000 connections, how many qualified connections do you have? If you're selling to a CEO, CFO, if you're selling to a purchasing director, how many of those do you have? And how many of those are actually real connections? How many people, not just you know them, but they also know you? How many articles, how many views, how many shares, how many posts? Think about what your goals are, not only from your business, how much revenue you want to generate, but even just thinking about how you want to achieve that, how many calls you want to get on and so on, is going to be crucial to you being successful on LinkedIn. Because most people think of LinkedIn as kind of just like a piece of technology, but technology without goals is a complete and total waste of time. So I really want you to consider that. Number two is, who is your target audience? Who are the people that are most likely to do business with you? You have something called a target client, right? It's an ideal client that you enjoy working with, that values your products and services. You don't want someone that's the lowest cost provider. You want value. By the way, you want lowest cost provider or value? You want price or value? What do you want people to buy from you with? Tell me in the chat right now. Do you want price, people to buy you based on price, or people to buy from you based on value? This is an important distinction. And it takes some time for people to get this, because some people are like, oh no, I want to be the cheapest price. Of course not. You want somebody that values your products and services and is willing to pay a premium to do business with you, right? That's what I want. I think that's what everybody wants. And then there's the next thing is, your target partner should be someone that works with you, with the same clients that you work with, and that could refer business to you. For example, Michael Bendit and me are part of an organization called the TMN. We have 20 marketers, and they all work with CMOs. They all work with directors of marketing. They all work with decision makers at marketing organizations. And so we meet twice a month at Google to have a conversation and to be top of mind with each other. But could you imagine if you had an extra, not just 20 people like that you were top of mind with, but you had, let's say, 100 or 200 or 500, and you knew exactly who your target partner is, and you knew which ones were engaged on LinkedIn, and you stay top of mind with them with the right system. And that's what I really want you to consider. The next thing, the third thing in your strategy is, your message must add value. What is your message? How do you add value? What are you good at? And what problems or pain points do you solve for your customers? Most people don't think about this. They're just kind of thinking about, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Don't think about what you do. Think about what you're best at. Think about how you add value, and think about the problem that you solve. Because ultimately, if you want to make money, you're solving a problem. By the way, what problem do you solve in your business? I'm curious to know. What problem do you solve? Can you say it in one sentence in the chat right now, or write it down on a piece of paper in front of you? What problem do you solve in your business? I'm going to read out some of the problems that people solve. And by the way, when I look at your LinkedIn profile, I don't see that. I don't see the problem that you solve. And that's a problem. Mariella said she solves online visibility via search engine optimization, via SEO. That's cool. Michael solves a problem of getting more visibility to the right vendors. Okay. Mohammed's luxury vacation problem. Okay, cool. So put the problem that you solve in the chat, or write it down. I really want you to think about that. And when you do that, then you could start thinking about what posts, articles, and media are important to your target market and target partners to help you to your goal. By the way, this is simple, simple, simple. It's not easy to do, but it's really, really simple. So when it comes to posts, there are different types of posts that you could be posting. Most people just post information. But if you take a look at my recent posts on LinkedIn, you'll notice something very interesting about my posts. And I'll show you guys a couple of my posts here. So go here. I have all these things in my shortcut so I can quickly access them. And if you want to check out my posts later, you can. I'll send you guys a copy of this that you could bookmark and look through my 2,400 posts. It's a lot of posts, right? So I have different things that I do. I'll feature a client. So if I have a new client that signed up, he just signed up to our blueprint. We optimize his whole thing here. And now his profile is actually going a little bit viral right now, because he just joined our LinkedIn Mastery course for Evergreen Networking. And we're basically teaching him how to reverse engineer LinkedIn, him and like 200 other students that we have. And he's getting some really, really great leads from LinkedIn as a result of that. This is basically a screenshot of my 5 million. So as I was preparing this for this presentation, and I used my artificial intelligence tool to tell me the tally of all my analytics. So I posted this kind of concept that I'm teaching you right now. 747 people saw this in the past hour. By the way, this is, put a $ if you know what I'm talking about here. 747 views in 1 hour on a simple little screenshot that was put up by my automatic social posting tool. Put a $ if you know what I'm talking about here in the chat. Okay, a little question that I had in my mind, boom, posted it. I did a little story. I'm doing 20 stories in 20 days. In a couple of hours, 833 people saw this. You see this? I'm scrolling down. Again, in the past 8 hours. So different things. I tell a story. I ask a question. I engage. I put an animated GIF. 2,000 people saw this little animated GIF over here with some tips that I'm giving about how to put the first frame of a video. I know that'll get you a little dizzy over there. 3,605 people saw this. If you had an opportunity to have 100 people see a message right now, what would you send? Would you send it? What would you write? Whatever, right? A little thing about my book. I posted this thing. 1,000, 1,100 people saw this. Another story. Another thing over here. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? I didn't even write this. This was Marianne Williamson, and people were arguing in the comments. It's actually Nelson Mandela. I was like, I'll give them both credit. Bottom line is reverse engineering the algo. Just me walking down the street doing a quick video and sharing it, me asking for a caption post, whatever. Bottom line is there's lots of different ideas, lots of different things that I do here that I post. A picture of me and one of my CEO friends having dinner, an invitation to my meetup tonight. So I want you to consider there's lots of different ideas when it comes to posting. There's lots of different things that you can do. A personal story, you can inspire, you could engage, you could inform, you could entertain, you could ask a question or offer something. So posts are the lifeblood of staying top of mind with the LinkedIn community, because 40% of people are logging in every day. And out of the 660 million users, you have the opportunity to stay top of mind with your connections and their connections. Now, I could share lots of different types of posts over here, but the bottom line is that you need to think about for yourself. You need to strategize for yourself. What do you want to share with your target market? What do you want to share? Is it the recommendations that you recently got? Is it the events that you go to? Is it the questions that you ask? Is it, for me, it's my goals. I always share my goals and what I'm doing over here, or some tips, some LinkedIn tips, or some tips on life. Then there's articles that you can create. So there's posts, but then there's articles. I call them evergreen articles. You have to pick your target market, try on their shoes, think about the pains that they have, and then how can you help them? And by the way, when I create an article, I don't just create any article. I create something called an evergreen article. What's an evergreen article? An evergreen article is an article that stands the test of time. For example, I had this article that I wrote, what does forgiveness even mean? And I wrote this article. Whenever I talk to somebody that talks about how they feel resentful or whatever it is in their life, I send them this article. People have read this article, and it has a 20+% engagement rate. That means 20% of people who read this end up liking or commenting on it. That's massive. That's massive. Or this, 20 stories in 20 days, I'm doing a challenge. Or how to start a LinkedIn local. I've ran 26 LinkedIn locals in the past year and a half. So people kept asking me how to do it. So anytime somebody asks me, boom, I send them that. Or want more awareness here, I went to Landmark. It was a 39-hour seminar. I took a bunch of notes, and then I put a whole 4,000-word article up, and I put it up over there. Or want to become a LinkedIn trainer and earn a 6-figure income. I write how to do it. 191 likes on an article. That's insanity. That's insanity. Okay, so breaking it down and seeing the engagement rate on these articles that take 5 to 10 minutes to read is a lot. That is a lot. Getting that much engagement and that many views, going deep with that many people is very powerful. So there's lots of types of articles that you can post. You can do how-tos. You can do videos like challenges. You can post tips on, let's say, goal setting, or let's say you think about like why most people fail in B2B e-commerce or in your industry or in SEO or whatever you're doing, and so on and so forth. You know, when people ask you questions, whenever you go to an event, you can make a takeaways of that event. You know, whatever your specialty is, whatever you enjoy doing. You know, people often ask me, Joe, how do you ask better questions? So I say, ask the duck. When somebody asks me a dumb question, I send them this article. It's called Ask the Duck. So the bottom line is you don't have to worry about how many people read your article. Instead, your strategy could be to have the right people invest lots of time going through your article. If I get 100 people or 100 ideal clients to spend 10 minutes reading my article, that's powerful. I'm way happier than if I get 1 million people seeing a 2-second post, right? It's a lot deeper. By the way, if you get this, write the word deeper in the chat. Deeper. You want to go deep with people. Posts are to be very superficial and stay top of mind. Articles are to go deeper. And I want to go deeper with you. I want to get to know you. I want to learn what your challenges are and what you want to create in your business. And I'm not looking to go viral. I'm looking to make a deep impact. So go ahead and write deeper in the chat so that I know that you're also a deep person. You're also a person that wants to go deeper. You're not superficial, but you want to be able to go deep and generate deep revenue. When I say deep revenue, I'm talking about $100,000, $200,000 in revenue from one client. You have to go deep for that. You can't just be superficial and just fly by night. It's not going to work. You got to go deeper. If that's the type of client that you want, the average customer spends $200,000 a year with our company, and we have to go deep in order to do that. I used to be more superficial. I've serviced over 1,100 companies. We were on the Inc. 5000, one of the fastest growing companies in the US. But those fly-by-night companies went out of business very quickly because that's what they do. You know, most companies go out of business within 3 years, 5 years, almost all of them within 10 years. We've been around for almost 11 years now, and we've been around the block, and we realize that not all people are created equal, but not all companies are created equal. The third step to your asset library is your media. So there's audio, video, and imagery. So, you know, keeping it really, really simple is making sure that you have your assets in place in advance will help you be able to always have what to post. And I have lots of different versions of asset libraries that we've created for over 100 clients in the past year. So we created this whole thing for them. Essentially what we do is we do a strategy session with them. We come up with their goals, target market, and messaging and do a whole brainstorm that gets recorded virtually. And then after that, we basically create all their posts, articles, and media for them in a content calendar asset library, and we give them a dashboard to track their activity, and then they have everything that they need to be successful. But scheduling is really important because if you're not scheduling it, you know, there's a famous saying, what gets scheduled gets done. You can write that down if you want. What gets scheduled gets done. If you don't schedule date night with your wife or with your husband, you think it's going to happen automatically? No. That's why most people get divorced, because they're not intentional in their relationship. They're allowing the lust to run, and then it runs out after 2-3 years. And then what do you have left? You have just your wounds and their wounds. And then what happens? But you got to schedule it. Whatever you want, you got to schedule. I schedule exercise. Everything that I want to do in my life, it needs to be scheduled. And so frequency is important. You need to have that frequency. You need to have that consistency. You need to have the right balance between quality and quantity. And think about how often you want to stay top of mind with somebody. For me, I want 1,000 of the right people to see me 1,000 times a year. So that means I'm going deep with 1,000 people, okay? I don't want to go viral. I want 1,000 people to see me 1,000 times. But I also want quality. So I want deeper posts. That's why sometimes I spend 2 or 3 hours writing an article where I go really, really deep. But writing a 4,000 article doesn't just happen on its own, but then I can repurpose that article and create many posts and videos and content. I'll show you an example of that right now, of how I'm doing that now. So every single day I'm posting a story now for the most part. And when I post a story, I'm posting it off this article. So I spent about 45 minutes writing this article. I thought of 20 stories in my life. My mom used to buy the lotto in her store, and she said, you need to do that to be successful. You need to have good luck and blah, blah, blah. And then I turned it into a post with an actual video. So if you click on this post from the article, I'll go back, edit the article later, and add the video. So I'm walking down the street and I'm thinking to myself, that story, 1,000 people saw this. You see 1,000 people saw this, 39 likes, 20 comments. And that's a really nice engagement rate. So if I get more than 2% of people that view it actually like or comment, that's a powerful, powerful engagement rate. You can see I'm having conversations with people in real time. And these are not simple people. This guy has a $4 million business. This guy's a very successful financial advisor. I mean, these are people, this is a client. This guy has a very successful agency. So these are very, very successful CEOs, decision makers, influencers, people that I know, people that I've gotten to know from LinkedIn. Then if you click on these hashtags, very powerful too, because you can see my clients are on here doing this as well. I'm not the only one doing it. You see my clients are doing this as well. It's very powerful. My client, these are the people that are actually active and they're learning how to do this and actively doing it. And they themselves are getting record views. Look at this. He told me before he started, he was getting zero, nothing, nada. Now he's getting thousands of people to see who, and these people are his connections, people that already know him, like him, and trust him. Now they're thinking about him, setting up meetings with him, and it's turning into 6- and 7-figure accounts for him. This is real. This works. You need to have the right way to do it. Remember, we said you need hashtags. You need to make sure you have the right spelling. You need to make sure that you use emoticons because that really connects with people. You need to understand the difference between how things appear in mobile and desktop, if you're using landscape mode or using vertical, horizontal, and then how to include links. Most people include links in posts. The algorithm doesn't like that. So understanding the algorithm is really important. I'm going to show you an example of that real quick. So for example, if you go to any of my posts, you'll notice if I ever share something like a link, I'm going to share it in the comments, because if I share it inside the post, the algorithm will mess me up. So I wanted to share, somebody asked me about my book, right? So I shared this little thing here, right? And by the way, I have all this already. I have it in many different places, but just to show you, I have a lot of my blurbs already created, these messages already created. So if I wanted to share with you a link to my book, I would just share that with you, right? If you said, okay, Joe, I want a link to your latest webinar replay or whatever it is, I'll just copy that and paste it as a link, right? If you say, Joe, I want you to share some other thing, I want you to share your link to your blueprint or whatever, I could share that. If I wanted to see an event that I'm doing, a seminar that I'm doing in New York City, I would just literally, somebody said, Joe, give me a 50% off coupon to the seminar you're doing in New York City. Boom, I would just share that. So I have lots of different things prepared here in advance. I don't have to think about it, right? Even this quote here, I could, or my wrap. If I just share this as a message to somebody, this little hashtag Mojo wrap will take you directly to see all my wraps. And when you send this as a DM on LinkedIn, this becomes a link and it doesn't look spammy. It's just clickable and it's really, really powerful. So you can create your own hashtags that are clickable and people automatically see that, and then they can go and watch a series of videos. I have like a whole bunch of B2B videos. So if you look up hashtag B2B marketing, let's say 10, this is a great hashtag to look at when you get a chance, just to give you an example of 10 amazing B2B videos that most people don't know how to do this. But I have lots of different videos that, each got over 1,000 views or whatever, right? And I copy this and I paste it right here. Or if I just do the hashtag B2B marketing 10 inside a DM, someone clicks on that, then they're able to quickly watch these 10 videos. And each video talks about something else: 3 popular important marketing tactics, or best way to generate qualified leads, or how to define your B2B marketing budget, or can a marketing agency really guarantee results, or like all these different things. Again, you can see the views, you can see the comments, you can see the likes, you can see the engagement. And that's a simple little hashtag, very powerful way of posting. And then, of course, you want to be promoting it, understanding how to use pods, how to use engagement pods, how to tag people in the comments, how to reply, what times of the day to do it, like all the stuff that you need to know in order for you to get the exposure that you need to be successful. So understanding your KPIs, knowing how many people looked at your profile, knowing what numbers to measure to know if you're being successful or not. Most people don't do this. I speak to people, I say, how many people looked at your profile in the past 90 days? And they're like, I have no idea. So I look at their profile and they say they got 60 or 20 or 30 or whatever it is. And I say, let me look at mine. I have 9,000. I have thousands of people that look at my profile. But the beauty is, because I pay for LinkedIn Premium, I can actually see who those people are. So I can see if you're looking at my profile, I know that you're looking at my profile, and then I'll message you and I'll thank you for looking at my profile. Can't make it tonight. I understand. Okay. So I see that you looked at my profile. For example, I see that Glenn looked at my profile, right? Me and Glenn are connected on LinkedIn. Thanks for connecting with me, Joe, blah, 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 blah. I don't know when this is November 12th. So I haven't communicated with Glenn since November 12th. So now I am going to click on this little thing here. Thank you for being my connection on LinkedIn and checking out my profile. Did you read my full summary? Blah, 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 right? So I just literally sent them this message. And because I have all these tools and plugins and ways to do things fast, it takes me seconds to just click buttons and boom, I'm ready to go. I have everything prepared. I showed you how I did it through a Word doc. I showed you how I did it through my plugins. But the bottom line is, what I want you to know is there's lots of ways to do things fast, but you have to know what numbers you're measuring and what you're doing. So I remember as I'm measuring, 4,000, 6,000, 9,000, 15,000, I see it growing, and that's the bottom line. The bottom line is if you want to be able to grow your business, you need to actually have a blueprint. You need to have a plan. Now, we're creating these blueprints for people. So if any of you need support, because if you have more money than time, we can actually do this for you with just 2 hours of your time. We need you to fill out a questionnaire for an hour. So if you want us to do it for you, typically it's $15,000, but we're running a special before the end of the year to create this whole blueprint for you. So if you hang on for a hot second, I'll show you exactly what it is that we're offering. We're going to give you a special offer because you're part of Michael Bendit's community, buyer recommended. So we're going to make you a deal that what we'll do is we'll come up with your goals, target, and message. We'll create an asset library for you. We'll create 13 weeks worth of content for you. We'll also throw in an optimized profile. So we'll actually take your profile and make it more likely that 10 times the amount of people will actually go to your profile, see you. We'll export all your connections and create a connections dashboard so you can recognize, strategize, and prioritize your connections. And we'll even throw in a direct messaging strategy, which includes a list of dozens of direct messages for people without being salesy to them. So if you actually want this, we're actually offering this at a very, very significant discount. If you want to know what the deal is, just hit me up directly and I'll send you the URL of where you can check out the deal and what we're offering. This is not for everybody. This is only for people that are very, very serious about creating a LinkedIn strategy with an asset library, with a content calendar, with a connections dashboard, with having us actually optimize your profile, and then finally us creating direct messaging scripts and so on. And we also offer a money back guarantee on anything that we do. So if you do want to talk to me, if you want to get together with me and have a quick phone call in January, feel free to hit me up here, ajaxunion.com/talktojoe, or my email address is joe@ajaxunion.com. So I'm happy to take questions. I know that you guys are here because you want to learn how to grow your LinkedIn. So I've been teaching LinkedIn over the past 10 years. I've been teaching LinkedIn, but over the past 3 years, really going deep on reverse engineering the algorithm. So if you do want to have a quick, if you have any question regarding LinkedIn, regarding your B2B e-commerce business or anything like that, I'm happy to answer your questions. I got a lot of questions from you guys. There's a lot of different things that I can go through, but I just want to, for the sake of time, I really want to scale down and just figure out, okay, what is the one thing for the people that are actually engaged that you're wondering about most? Is it how to get an email address? Is it how to generate business through LinkedIn? Is it how to, whatever question you have, I'm here to answer it. Again, like I said, I have thousands of questions that we've answered through our courses and so on. So we actually have, we're actually running a special on our course as well. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we have this website called Evergreen, but I've been talking about this a lot. So Evergreen has a Y in it. Let me send you this landing page right over here. So you guys have access to this as well. So we have Evergreen Networking, which teaches you how to use LinkedIn, and Evergreen Goal Setting, which teaches you how to set goals for your business. And then we have the Sales Cure and so on. So if you want to check this out, feel free to go here and click one of these buttons and you'll be able to see exactly what we have to offer in terms of training if you want to learn how to do this yourself. Very, very powerful. But we answer all the questions. We have lots of free tips, lots of free webinars that we have, lots of replays and so on. So if you want to go check this out, feel free to check out our website, evergreen.com. The reason we put a Y there is because why not? Why not? Just put a Y there. Love having fun. All right. So I see that lots of people are asking questions. Okay, let me answer your questions right now. Okay, so how do you actually convert and qualify leads? Ooh, we actually teach that in our sales course, in our sales cure. It's not really a LinkedIn thing necessarily, but a lot of people that we teach how to generate leads, they generate a lot of leads and they're not sure how to actually convert those leads. So we have a sales process that we teach in the sales cures. Again, super affordable, super easy. In just 5 hours, we'll teach you how to convert and qualify leads. But the bottom line is you have to have an actual script, a list of objections to be able to work those leads, to be able to actually close them. What content is acceptable and how do I frame my audience? It really depends on who your target market is. Most people don't have an actual defined target market. So once you decide who your target market is, figuring out what their pains and gains are, figuring out what their actual needs are, figuring out who you are and what your own personal stories are. So one of the things that we love teaching people, I mean, if you have the time to do this yourself, you have 15, 20 minutes a day for the next several months, then definitely do this yourself and go through this process. But we teach people how to come up with their stories, to optimize their profile, to add to their dashboard. But first you have to understand who the people are. You can't create messaging if you don't know who you're talking to. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, put a $ sign in the chat. If that makes sense, you have to know who you're talking to in order for you to be able to create content for your audience. Who is your audience? Okay. That's really, really important. How do I compute ROI for corporate buyers to connect the ROI using Navigator? Ooh, we actually have a 101 and 201 Navigator that we're offering as a bonus. As part of our training course that we have over here, we're actually offering a bonus of 101 and 201 of how to use Navigator. But the bottom line is when it comes to prospecting and networking is very, very different, Mohammed. It's very, very different. Networking is about building relationships, building top of mind, and just basically building awareness and connecting with people and building a community. Prospecting is just checking to see if you're ready to buy something right now. Just checking to see if you're qualified right now. So using Sales Navigator, you can do a really good job at prospecting. But using LinkedIn Organic, it's more about networking. It's more about building those relationships, getting those referrals, or when people are ready to buy, that's the deal. We have something called Operation DM. This is how I get 1,000 people on the phone each year. So I speak to 5 people a day. That's my goal. I don't want to speak to too many people. I have 9-minute conversations. Sometimes it lasts for 15 minutes. Sometimes it'll go on for 30 minutes. But for the most part, I use Operation DM, and I actually use my dashboard. And this is the dashboard that we give out to people. I'll show it to you real quick. Somebody just said, Joe, show me your dashboard. I'll show you my dashboard real quick. I know you guys want to see it. So this is my connections dashboard. This tells me how many connections I have by month, really broken down. This is by title, by company name, by position. And all this information is actually available as an export from LinkedIn. You can easily export this information. We actually teach you how to do this inside our course. And as part of the blueprint, we actually do this for you so you don't have to do it yourself. But basically, you get first name, last name, company name, position. I add other stuff to my dashboard like profile URL, location, how many followers, whether they have premium. And I actually have a team of people that kind of support me to make sure that I communicate with all the people that I'm connected to, depending on who the people are. But I'll send messages about my workshops. I'll send messages, just greeting messages. There's a 3-step process that we teach called greeting, feeding, and meeting. That's the idea. So this is how we kind of do it. So Bob said, we run and sponsor a LinkedIn group with 87,000 members. Want to learn that we can leverage that? Yeah, definitely. I can talk to you about that. LinkedIn groups are a little dead these days, but Bob, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'll reach out with you to you, Bob, separately to have a conversation. We'll set up a quick call to kind of talk about leveraging this and having fun with a group. There's a lot of different ways to use groups, but for the most part, people are spamming a lot in groups, and unless it's being utilized correctly with the right moderation, it's going to be very hard to leverage a group. Where it's at right now is really the feed. That's where it's at, and learning how to get on the feed and how to stay on the feed and how to stay in front of people. Like this guy does a really good job. Christopher Hummel, he's a friend of mine. He actually offered his stadium. He's a sponsor of the stadium. He's the CEO of Fit Team Global in West Palm Beach. And he offered his stadium. He's like, Joe, I can fill it out with 8,000 people if you want to come talk about LinkedIn. So I said, let's talk about that. And we're setting up a meeting to talk about how to fill up his stadium. He has a $10 million business with 25,000 people selling his products and services globally. Really cool guy, good friend of mine. And he's leveraging LinkedIn and getting a very nice return on investment on that. So if you have any questions, I'm available at either joe@ajaxunion.com or marketing@ajaxunion.com if you want my team to see it. And this concludes our webinar. So I just want to take a moment to thank you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how did we do? 1, we didn't do that good. 10, you got some massive value. And if you're not sure, just write the word value. But let me know on a scale of 1 to 10. Michael Bendit said 10 plus. Thank you, Michael. That's very generous of you. Sean said 10. John said 10. And of course, I have lots of other resources. So go check out my profile. In my About section, I have lots of free webinars, lots of case studies, lots of tools, lots of hacks. My goal is to help 1,000 hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation. That's what I want more than anything else in the world. I just turned 40. I officially retired. Now I get to choose to come to work every single day. I don't have to come to work. I'm at a good place in my life. Thankfully, I was very successful, and now I want to return to everybody else and give back to everybody else. So this is what I'm about now. This is what I'm doing, a life of purpose, a life of meaning. I went through a lot of personal development over the past couple of years, really transformed myself, lost 95 pounds. I want to live a better life, a life where I have integrity with my word, integrity with my people, and really making a difference for other people. And that's kind of like what I'm about right now. I went through this awareness journey, and I'm just excited. But that's what really fills me up, when I can fill somebody else's cup, when I can support somebody, when I can make an introduction. I do 1,000 introductions a year to people in my network. You could ask Michael how many introductions I made for him. I love making intros. And look, at the end of the day, if you need my support, I'm here, very accessible. So just hit me up and I'm happy to support you on your journey. I do have a goal to get 1,000 recommendations on LinkedIn. So, by the way, Michael just said many, many introductions. Thank you, Joe. By the way, if you go to joelinkedin.com, that's a shortcut that takes you to my LinkedIn URL because people don't know how to spell my last name. But if you check it out, you'll see that I don't know how many recommendations you have, but I have, let's see how many I have as of today. So in terms of recommendations, so recommendations are not so easy to get. Endorsements are much easier to get. So I have 99 plus on most of my endorsements. But recommendations are basically somebody writing some very nice things about you, whether they're a client, a vendor, a friend, a networking buddy. So I have 274. This year my goal is 250 and I beat my goal. My next goal is 1,000 recommendations. So probably in the next 5 years, I'm going to try to get to 1,000 recommendations. That's my goal. So if you enjoy this webinar and you want to give me a recommendation and we're connected on LinkedIn, feel free to hit me up and let me know that you do want to give me a recommendation because I want to get to 1,000 here. This is my goal. I'm curious to know what your goal is for 2020. My recommendation is get at least 3 recommendations per quarter. So that's 1 per month. That's my recommendation. Get 1 recommendation per month minimum. I just got one on the 16th. I got one on the 13th. And I'm working my network. When I do a seminar and somebody gives me a compliment, I ask them if they're willing to leave me a LinkedIn recommendation, and then boom. And most people that say they are don't end up doing it, which is fine. But getting 274 was a big feat. Getting to 1,000 is almost impossible. There's only one person on LinkedIn that actually has 1,000, and I want to beat that person. I'm super competitive, as you can see from my goals and what I'm trying to accomplish over here. So if you are willing to support me on this, that would be fantastic. Just so you know, if I click on my network, and you'll see I have 2,500 people that are waiting to connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you're on this, I see that Sean is on this. I'm going to actually accept you here. And I see Mohammed is on this as well. I'm actually going to accept you as well, Mohammed. But if you're on this, feel free to let me know with a note that it's you, because I really want quality connections. I've connected to so many people over the years, and a lot of these people, I have no idea who they are. So I'm not necessarily going to connect with every single person because there is actually a limit to how many connections you can have. So that's basically the idea. So if somebody wants to sell me something, or they don't have a profile that works, or whatever it is, I'm not just going to randomly connect with people just because they send me a connection request. Like if they have no image, or if, it's clearly I can't do business with them for whatever reason. Like, they don't have their name or whatever. I'm not just going to accept a connection for the numbers. I want my next 9,000 connections to be super quality. And I started doing this about 8,000 connections ago, and that really impacted my network significantly. So thank you so much. Appreciate you very, very much. And again, whatever you guys need, I'm here for you. Once again, my name is Joe Apfelbaum. The name of our company is Ajax Union. And if you need to reach out to me, all this information is on my profile. Looking forward to speaking to you guys again soon. Thank you very much, Michael, for doing this with me. And remember, buyer recommended. Check it out.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
All right. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.